Start. MTC. Q-5 number 1. When I started to spend time in the region, I began hearing stories about sea otters. These days, the otters aren't so few and far between. In fact, when I confessed my lifelong dream of someday seeing a sea otter, people almost laughed at me. There are lots, I was told, along the outer coast. Finally, my moment came. I was on a small boat and there they were, their dark heads sticking out above the white water where the waves were crashing up against the rocky coastline. They weren't close, and the rough waves made it hard to see, but in that moment I knew what it was to have a dream come true. It was a reminder that things can change, that species can recover, and that I could let go of some of the concern for the otters that I'd been holding inside since I was a girl. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Q-5 number 2. How can we maintain excitement, interest, and aesthetic pleasure for a lifetime? I suspect that part of the answer will come from the study of things that stand the test of time, such as some music, literature, and art. In all these cases, the works are rich and deep, so that there is something different to be perceived in each experience. Consider classical music. For many it is boring and uninteresting, but for others it can indeed be listened to with enjoyment over a lifetime. I believe that this lastingness derives from the richness and complexity of its structure. The music interleaves multiple themes and variations, some simultaneous, some sequential. Human conscious attention is limited by what it can attend to at any moment, which means that consciousness is restricted to a limited subset of the musical relationships. As a result, each new listening focuses upon a different aspect of the music. The music is never boring because it is never the same. I believe a similar analysis will reveal similar richness for all experiences that last: classical music, art, and literature. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Q-5 number 4. Democritus lived around 460 to 370 BC and is today best known for his atomist theory, which holds that the things we see are made up of small, indivisible parts. Democritus 460370. He also believed that the soul was made up of these indivisible parts, called atoms, and like others at the time assumed that the soul is responsible for human intellect. His attitude toward emotions can be inferred from his notion that a pleasant life presupposes little movement of the soul and a satisfaction with one's own achievements. This suggests that he viewed both too positive and too negative emotions as unsettling and therefore bad. This negative view toward emotions is even more evident from his statement that wisdom frees the soul from emotions, which implies that emotions are like a disease that needs curing. Apart from these propositions, however, we know little about what Democritus thought emotions are, how they are related to reason, and where they are located in the body. Democritus. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Q-5 number 5. Mathematical truth is a very slippery concept. This is not to say that it does not exist, but rather that we cannot be absolutely sure we have found it simply because we have an apparently logical proof. People make mistakes, particularly when checking a single lengthy argument repeatedly. Our knowledge of the truth of a mathematical statement depends upon making judgments based upon appropriate evidence. This evidence includes proofs of the type presented in textbooks, but may also involve numerical calculations, already solved special cases, geometrical pictures, consistency with one's intuition about the field, parallels with other fields, wholly unexpected consequences which can be verified, etc. Mathematicians try to increase their knowledge, but this knowledge is based more upon the variety of independent sources of confirmation than upon logic. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Q-5 number 6. Chimpanzees generally use both visual and tactile gestures, the former when others are already paying attention, and the latter regardless of the attentive state of the recipient. In a study of visual gesturing, a pair of caged chimps saw a banana that was placed out of their reach in a laboratory, and they tried to explain to the human experimenter how to retrieve it for them. When a human entered the room, each chimp held a hand out, palm up, in the classical begging gesture, and they pointed toward the fruit with their whole hand or an index finger. They also used gaze alternation, looking back and forth from human to banana. The apes utilized the same types of referential communication whether the banana was visible or hidden from view. These findings illustrate chimps' capacity to try to influence the state of knowledge of an observer, and in this case, a member of another species. Chimpanzees clearly possess a theory of mind, for they are consciously aware of the conscious awareness of others. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Q-5 number 7. The calorie argument claims that, based on weight, age, and several other variables, we each need a specific number of calories per day. To lose, gain, or maintain weight in this model, you have two variables, calories consumed and calories expended. According to this theory, to lose weight we simply eat less and move more. To gain weight, we move less and eat more. If we followed this simplified formula, we could eat Twinkies all day and run those calories off on a treadmill. However, common sense tells us this is not health. Sure, counting calories can help some people move in the right direction by eliminating the most egregious diet offenders, but for those who are serious about being healthy, simply counting calories doesn't make the cut. Counting calories does not help manage appetite or eliminate cravings, and these can be serious impediments to weight loss. It also doesn't help manage or reverse diseases. We need a more holistic model. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Q-5 number 8. Many of our intuitive theories about the impact of events on our emotional lives are mistaken. However, sometimes they are mistaken in a rather special way. We often hit the nail on the head when it comes to predicting the type of impact an event will have on us and the intensity of that impact. For example, we may correctly predict that winning a lottery would thrill us more than locating a long-lost sock, or that the loss of a limb would horrify us more than a run in our nylons. Where we err, however, is in estimating the duration of the positive or negative feelings that such events evoke. Research shows, for example, that the thrill of winning the lottery, and the horror of acquiring a physical handicap, both diminish more quickly than expected. Indeed, after only a few months, people who have experienced either one or the other are barely distinguishable in terms of their overall happiness. Contrary to our intuitive expectations, the emotional impact that an event has on us fades in a few months, after which experiencers of emotions, good or bad, are hard to tell in relation to their overall happiness. MTC. Good job.